Apple is finally preparing to shake up the foldable phone conversation, and the latest wave of leaks around the so-called iPhone Ultra Foldable is doing exactly what Apple does best, keeping the entire smartphone market guessing. For years, we've heard whispers about an Apple foldable iPhone, when it would launch, what shape it would take, and whether Apple could actually solve the biggest foldable problems like durability and the dreaded screen crease. Now, leaked details and even alleged foldable iPhone case designs are making the picture clearer, and the hype is building fast. So here's what the leaks are suggesting, what it could mean for the iPhone lineup, and why the iPhone Ultra Foldable might be the most exciting yet most risky iPhone Apple has attempted in a long time. Let's start with the big claim. Apple's foldable iPhone Ultra is rumored to use a wide folding design instead of a tall, narrow passport-style fold. The iPhone Ultra is expected to open up into a broader, mini tablet-like screen, something that could feel closer to an iPad mini experience when unfolded. If Apple goes this route, it's not just about looking different. A wider layout is simply better for the things foldables are meant to do: reading, editing, watching videos, and working across multiple apps, and that leads to one of the most important rumored upgrades. An iOS build designed for split-screen multitasking. This is the feature foldable fans have been begging for from Apple. If the iPhone Ultra supports true multitasking to apps side by side, drag and drop between windows, floating video, and smarter app layouts, it could be Apple's most meaningful step toward blending the iPhone and iPad experience into one device. Not a gimmick, a real usability upgrade. Now, the camera situation, according to current leaks, sounds surprisingly simple for an Ultra model. The foldable iPhone Ultra is rumored to ship with 2 rear cameras. Not 3, not 4, just 2. That would be a notable decision in a market where flagship often means maximum lenses, maximum sensors, maximum zoom. But Apple has never been afraid to prioritize consistency over specs. And it's possible Apple is focusing on sensor quality, computational photography, and tighter hardware integration rather than stacking extra cameras. Still, if Apple calls it Ultra, expectations will be sky high, especially for zoom performance and low-light results. 2 cameras can absolutely be enough, but the execution has to be near perfect. Then there's the security choice that has everyone talking. Touch ID Face It, at least according to the rumors. If Apple really brings Touch ID back for the iPhone Ultra Foldable, it likely won't be nostalgia. It'll be practicality. Foldables can be used at weird angles, half open on a table, unfolded like a tablet, folded like a standard phone, and Face ID isn't always ideal in those positions. A power button fingerprint sensor can be faster and more reliable in real-world use, especially when you're switching between modes constantly. Next up, colors. Leaks claim the foldable iPhone Ultra could launch in silver, white, and indigo. That's a very Apple palette: clean, premium, and slightly bold with that indigo option. If accurate, it suggests Apple wants the iPhone Ultra to feel like a luxury flagship, not an experimental tech demo. But the biggest flex, if Apple pulls it off, will be the display. Multiple leaks point to an almost invisible crease, and that's the holy grail for foldables. Even the best foldable screens today still show a crease under certain lighting or at certain angles. Some are better than others, but none are truly invisible in every condition. If Apple can meaningfully reduce crease visibility, it becomes an instant selling point because it addresses one of the most common reasons people avoid foldables in the first place. Now, here's where things get even more interesting. Leaked case designs have reportedly left very little to the imagination. If those case leaks are accurate, the general shape, button placement, and overall design direction may already be locked in. And once accessory makers ramp up, it often means the hardware form factor is close to final, at least in terms of dimensions. That steady stream of leaks is also clearly impacting public excitement. In a recent poll, the majority of respondents, around 61%, said they're genuinely excited to see what the iPhone Ultra Foldable looks like when it launches, potentially alongside the iPhone 18 Pro models later this year. Another group, just over 20%, said they're not really into foldable phones, but they're still watching Apple's move closely. And nearly 19% said they don't care at all whether the iPhone Ultra succeeds or flops. That split makes total sense, because foldables still create a very specific reaction. People either love the idea of a phone that becomes a tablet, or they see it as expensive complexity they don't need. And that brings us to the part of the conversation that matters most. Excitement is justified, but so is caution, because if this iPhone Ultra really is Apple's first foldable iPhone, then it's a first-generation product. And first-generation Apple products are always fascinating, but not always flawless. Leaks and reports have suggested Apple has been running into challenges behind-the-scenes manufacturing hurdles, production timing, and the kind of durability concerns that every foldable maker has had to wrestle with. Some rumors even claim early units can develop creaks or rattles over time, and that the crease may not be as invisible as Apple originally aimed for. To be clear, these are still rumors, but they match the reality of foldable engineering. Hinges loosen, internal layers shift, dust resistance is hard, and long-term durability is difficult to guarantee when your screen literally bends thousands of times. So the question becomes, what does Apple do better than everyone else when it enters a category? It packages the experience in a way that feels finished. It makes the product feel mainstream. It makes developers care. And it makes competitors react. Even before Apple officially reveals anything, the industry is already moving. Reports suggest other brands are leaning harder into wide folding designs. And we're hearing more chatter about upcoming foldables being redesigned for better usability, not just thinner bodies or bigger numbers on spec sheets. That's the Apple effect. Sometimes it's temporary, sometimes it's permanent, but it almost always changes how the category evolves. Still, none of that guarantees mass adoption. Foldables have been around long enough to prove they're real, but they haven't become the default smartphone choice. Price is a major barrier. Durability anxiety is real, and a lot of people simply don't want a thicker phone, a more delicate screen, or a device that feels like two products in one. So if Apple wants the iPhone Ultra Foldable to be more than a headline, it needs to nail a few things at the same time: a hinge that feels rock solid for years, not months, a crease that's minimized enough to stop being a daily distraction, an iOS multitasking system that doesn't feel like a watered-down compromise, battery life that holds up in both folded and unfolded use, and a price that, while still premium, doesn't push the phone into a niche-only luxury bracket. If Apple hits those targets, the foldable iPhone Ultra could instantly become the foldable that finally convinces regular iPhone users to try the form factor. If Apple misses, then even the Apple logo won't save it from the same skepticism that has held foldables back for years. But whether you're fully hyped or fully unconvinced, one thing is undeniable: the foldable iPhone Ultra leaks have turned Apple's next move into the most watched smartphone story in the industry, and until Apple makes it official, every new leak cases, renders, display rumors, camera hints will keep pushing one question to the top: when the iPhone Ultra Foldable finally arrives, will it be the foldable worth waiting for, or just the most expensive experiment Apple has ever put in your pocket?